Hello everyone, it is Eric Meehan. It is October 23rd and it is another message in the bottle video. Biodynamically, by the way, it is a flower day until a little after 9 p.m. So go ahead and pop a nice bottle of wine. You'll probably enjoy it pretty well. Hope everybody's well. Today I'd like to talk about Buttery Chardonnay. So buttery, it's a word that comes up a lot, but not as much as it should. Kind of, maybe, sort of. Let's talk about it. What is buttery? There is a type of fermentation called malolactic fermentation. A lot of us wine geeks often just say mallow. Oh, it is a mallow. Malolactic fermentation is a secondary type of fermentation, right? So not the type of fermentation that's turning your sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide, but it is turning malic acid into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. What's the difference? Malic acid is that sort of taut, tensiony acid that's acidic, frankly, like a zesty Sauvignon Blanc or something like that is very often, you're tasting malic acid. Lactic acid, of course, you can think of lactic, lactose, milky, creamy, things like that. Well, indeed, the effect of lactic acid is to be much smoother and fuller bodied and things like that. Now, why was I saying that you'd probably want to talk about it more, you'd expect it to talk about it more? Frankly, because everybody talks about it with white wines, but a lot of white wines don't go through mallow. More red wines than white wines go through malolactic fermentation. How? Okay, so you can either induce it by introducing the bacteria that causes malolactic fermentation into, say, a stainless steel tank, and you're doing it on purpose, or you're doing it on purpose by putting it in, say, a barrel with exposure to oxygen, cellars that have the bacterium in it, and that'll cause the mallow to happen as well. The point is, you're doing it in theory on purpose, and as more reds are barrel aged than whites in general, you have more malolactic fermentation going on there. But when people have a red, it is so rare, and I've been in the business for a couple of decades at this point, it is so rare for someone to actually refer to a red wine as buttery, because the buttery quality tends to come out a little bit more in the whites. Just how it is. So, that is the concept of buttery when you're looking for a buttery wine. And a lot of people will confuse it with an oaky flavor. Now, it can happen because the wine was aged in oak, right? So that's not to be discounted. There may be an oaky flavor, especially if it's new oak. But the malolactic, the buttery sensation, is from a secondary fermentation that has nothing necessarily to do with the flavor of oak. And very often they will be using what we call neutral barrels, or barrels that have been used over and over and over, so they're not imparting necessarily oak flavor. That's pretty much gone, but they are providing slow, time with oxygen and with the ability to have this. Or, like I said, it'll be in a stainless steel tank. With also, you can control the temperature of the stainless steel tank, because malolactic, the bacteria, likes it a little bit warmer than you might think to do its thing. So, point being, when you want a buttery wine, what you're really looking for is malolactic fermentation. And just, again, keep in mind that a lot of those sort of richer, rounder reds went through the same thing, just you perceive them differently. Just kind of fun to think about. But anyway, so now you know all about buttery wines. I chose this, by the way, the Rombauer Carneros. To me, it's sort of indicative of like what people are looking for. Also, because it's a well-made wine, like it's not like overly cloying, but it does have a touch of mallow. So a lot of people know the Rombauer, so I figured I'd use that as my example wine. But obviously, there's a lot of really excellent white wines that have gone through malolactic fermentation, and reds. And there you go. This has been Message in the Bottle. I'll see you all next time. Bye.